Who am I? What are my values? What is important to me? And where am I headed? And just to share a little bit with you, this is the most beautiful and pivotal moment of your life, and it may feel very foreign to you right now, but it's exactly where you need to be. And if I could share a little bit about what I've experienced with my transitionary periods in my life, hell yeah, it's been terrifying. I had no idea how I was going to support myself. I had no idea how I was going to be able to, raise kids and go to school and try something new. Being divorced after nearly 11 years, and I just had no idea where I was headed. I had been a hairdresser for many years, and I just didn't even know where to begin. I just knew that there had to be more. What got you here? And how powerful you must be to be in this space. You had to speak up. You had to make your concerns heard. And I think that that's amazing. So for you to be even in this transitionary period has to take a giant amount of inner power, inner knowing. You had the last straw. You're sick and tired of being treated a certain way. You're tired of experiencing life a certain way. And so here you are at this junction, this crossroads of evolution, and yes, it's going to feel, heavy and again foreign. I'm going to congratulate you for the amount of willpower and open-mindedness it took for you to get to this space. And it's going to only get better from here. And so by that being said, what are you open to shifting in your life? What is missing currently? It's time to take inventory. And inventory is like, how are the people in your life, your friends, your family, the people that you interact with on a daily basis? Do you enjoy them? Do they add to your life, or do they continue to take? And taking inventory, many might think that it's selfish, or, it's not right to, leave your family or leave your friends and things like that. But you really do need to be mindful as to what you're entertaining, because I've spoken on my channel before, but it's teaching others how to treat us. So if we continue to allow certain behaviors or certain patterns in our life, that's what we're allowing, and it's going to perpetuate. And so taking inventory. How is it in those environments? Do you want to change your environment? So another question I have is, are you easily influenced by the people that are around you? So I asked you to take inventory on what you're experiencing with your friends, your family, your work environment, those kind of spaces. Now, that being said, can you think back to a moment in your life where, maybe somebody came into the office or came to work or wherever you're experiencing your life at, came in and just was in a terrible mood, and they're snapping at you and talking to you in a certain way? Are you easily influenced to question yourself as to what can I do to improve the mood of this person? Or gosh, do they not value me? Or do you just start to question yourself as to who you are and what your values are, and start to wonder, is this your fault? Are you easily swayed? And if that's the case, that's all right for now. Take some time to ask yourself why. And once you do, once you get that answer, you're going to be pretty surprised how quickly things shift. When we're questioning why people are treating us a certain way and why certain situations keep happening, is it me? Is something wrong with me? You know, why is nobody care as much as I do? When you start questioning yourself, it starts to dip at your confidence. It starts to take away from your very essence. You're basically saying, and it doesn't feel good. I don't know if you've noticed, but you know, when you're in that situation and you're letting your emotions get to you, you're letting your inner thoughts get to you, because it's almost as if that these people are reflecting back to you your own insecurities. So, for example, let me give you an example. A family member comes to you and says to you, you know, you need to lose some weight and, you know, you probably need to get a real job. And had you have been firm, not only in your boundaries, but your inner knowing, and truly love yourself for all of the beauty that you are, you wouldn't let their words sway you so heavy. And that's why I say that it's a really good thing for you to understand and know where this is coming from, because these people are nudging you in the right direction. It's not that they're bad. It's not that they're, you know, terrible people and they don't deserve any type of time, or they don't deserve you. We don't need to point fingers. They are nudging us in a direction to understand who we are and what we stand for. And so another thing I want to ask about that same exact scenario is, you know, this family member says that not only are you overweight, but you also need to get a real job. Who's to say that the words that they're telling you, the words that they're saying that you need to fix, or whatever you need to fix on with your life, they're speaking to you from their perception on life. What they value may not align with what you value. So, that being said, you can peacefully decline their advice and go about your day. But if we're in a space where we don't know how to make boundaries for ourselves, and you're in a sensitive area where you are taking things personally, it's just really tough. And so when you're in a transition, it's really good to, again, take inventory, take like 10 steps back, work on your boundaries. What are boundaries? What will you allow? You know, will you constantly pick up the phone even though you know that person is very drab, has nothing nice to say, wants to speak poorly about others? Or are you gonna, you know, pick up the phone a little bit less frequently? Sometimes, because we've lived a certain way for so long, we almost created barriers and like blocks, and we all did this in the sake of like not letting ourselves get hurt. But now that you're in this transition, now that you are in a space of, you know, evolving and changing your life, it's time. It's time to expand your heart. Have you ever seen that movie from a long time ago? It's called Grinch. It was a cartoon one. That one was so cool. And years ago, when I first started my spiritual awakening and becoming just more aware of, you know, the life that I'm creating, I mentioned to a mentor of mine saying, you know, it almost feels like my heart is like ripping open. And it just felt like the scene from The Grinch, where The Grinch was tired of being angry and living so far away from everyone and being so detached from a community, from love, from connection. And maybe right now it's not time for you to have a community or those kinds of connections with other people, because again, you're in a transitionary state. Who are you without all the people? That's where we're at right now, right? But it doesn't have to be just about the people or the community. It's expanding your heart, to opening your heart to experience a love that you've never experienced before. Because for the longest time, I've shared this before, chasing after love and affection and quality time and words of affirmation left me depleted, left me feeling like, is there something wrong with me? All of the love that I'm giving is just being taken and not given back to me. Why is that? So right now, it would be so helpful for you to expand your heart. Work on what that means to you. Can you open your heart and let your guards down, even though you've been hurt so many times over and over again by people that you love, by people that you care about, by people that are just out there living their lives? I think that's the real strength, is being open to love despite the pain. Going back to being in a transitionary period and being open to trying something new. I know a lot of people are, out there trying to get you to maybe sexy pole dance or, dress differently and things like that. Like, those things are all fun. They're not going to challenge you to the point of having that aha moment. And if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you're interested in that aha moment. You want that light bulb. You want something that's going to stick. That's something that's going to crack your heart open and open your mind to beauty, to strength, to resilience. And that's what I'm here for. So trying something new doesn't have to be something frou-frou. If it feels weird, if somebody's, trying to get you to try it, or keep seeing it on social media and it makes you kind of feel a little uncomfortable, don't do it. Don't do it. That's fine. But I want you to challenge yourself to something that you've never tried before. Maybe try running, try sprinting, maybe try lifting weights, and just really challenging yourself on a physical level to the point where, you feel like you're going to crack. That's a really good place to be. I know that sounds really wild. I'm not telling you to, be like David Goggins. I don't know if you've heard of him before. Highly recommend, if you're interested in reading his book. He has a book that's out, and I'm pretty sure it's called Can't Stop Me. Don't quote me on that. I'll look it up and I'll put the link for the Audible on there. But I was really interested in his thought process at the time. It really helped me think outside of myself and the limitations that I gave myself. So anyway, going back to my experience, if I could share that with you, when I first started really challenging myself to see how powerful I could really be, I shocked myself. I was out there testing my mile with a run. And I remember I had, of course, a coach. I had a mentor. I even had a life coach at the time. And they were all there, rooting for me and, just pushing me to levels that I had never experienced before. And I remember some of the thoughts and visions that I had while running. And sometimes it'd be shocking. It'd be like little flashes of my past. And, so I'd be running and trying to test my mile, and I could just feel my legs buckling underneath me, but my coach was by my side, trying to push me to go harder, to go faster. And I remember seeing glimpses of, past trauma that I experienced with my father, past experiences with my ex-husband, and things that I had held on to for the longest. But as I was pushing myself to the brink of almost just like destruction, I realized that I was holding on to these things, and I felt like I slayed a dragon by me pushing myself to physical parameters I had never experienced. I was able to break free from a lot of those constraints that I had put on myself. So, trying something new doesn't always have to have glitter and rainbows. Pushing yourself to the extent of pushing past those limitations. I never thought in a million years that I could ever be a runner. So after I was done with doing all those things, I started lifting weights. And I completely shifted my thought process. We're all playing this game. And just know that joy and happiness and abundance is here, and it's here now. So the more that you invest in what makes you feel good, you are going to see things shift in your life. But you've got to choose you. You've got to choose you and do what makes you feel best always. And just watch things shift. So if I were to ask anything at the end of this video, I would say, what transition are you in? Have you experienced a transition? And if you could share anything with that person maybe 5 years ago, that person being you, if you could share anything with her or him, what would you let them know? And place that down in the comments.